triple header. Coming up on HBO's World Championship Boxing, 3 middleweight and super middleweight champion-type fighters. Roy Jones, a hot young contender. You remember him as the Olympic hero in Seoul in '88. Iran Barkley, fighting against a relative unknown named Robert Foley. Jones faces Percy Harris. And James Toney, the middleweight champion, fighting against veteran New York fighter Doug DeWitt. And hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley, welcoming you a little bit early tonight to our World Championship Boxing proceedings so that I can spend some time with two of the major superstars of HBO's entertainment payroll. Starting, of course, with our HBO boxing expert, former world heavyweight champion and now heavyweight contender George Foreman, who joins me live from Los Angeles, where he is both taping a comedy show and getting ready for his January 16 date with Pierre Kutzer here on HBO. Good evening, George. How are you?
Doing fine. I'm doing great. Good shape.
Yeah? The usual shape at this time as you prepare for a fight?
Oh, no. It's something different now. I no longer have the HBO cap. Look, Gold Gym, that's where I'm hanging out. Everybody can find me pumping that iron. I got a big muscle. Look at that.
Yeah, that is a big muscle.
Yeah,
absolutely right. All right, we'll talk more about your boxing later on. George, right now I want to introduce you to somebody you already know, Gary Shandling, the star of the Larry Sanders Show, now television's preeminent talk show. Gary got a nice blazer there, don't you?
Thank you.
You wanted to show off the wrinkles?
I want a lot of the people to know they missed the big fight that started right before we went on camera because he wanted the red mic.
I did have a problem with that, but get over it. That's what they always say in the showbiz. And you'll be getting over the fact that beginning this coming Monday, December 7th, and through Friday, December 18th, the Larry Sanders Show is going to be airing every night at 11 o'clock, every weeknight at 11 o'clock, Monday through Friday, right here on HBO. Back-breaking work for you, right?
Well, far more difficult than I think what George does. George took off 12 years, came back, still got like $12 million.
And fights 2 or 3 times a year and makes bundles of money that you and I can only dream about.
I do not get it.
Not bad, huh, George?
Not bad at all when you think about it. Look, I've got a lot of fans at HBO, and I'm going to start showing my appreciation. I'm going to have the George Foreman sweepstakes. How you like that?
A giveaway of sorts. Well, I think
lot
it's
better than Gary.
The world has been so good to you. What are you going to give away?
Well, I'm offering 2 ringside seats to my January fight in Reno. The winner and a friend can come and watch Big George Foreman in action in Reno.
Hey, you like knockouts? We got knockouts. You like the skins? We got the skins. Whether it's on the field, on the beach, or on the canvas, count on HBO to put you where the action is with a winter lineup that'll make sports fans cheer. Join host George Foreman as HBO takes an inside look at these champions outside the ring. Watch for In This Corner, boxing's legendary heavyweights. Speaking of inside looks, these 3 guys have always got the scoop. And when it comes to the NFL, you might say they're experts in the field. Join Len, Nick, and Chris every Thursday night at 11 for a weekly look inside the NFL. Now, think fast, because, as always, HBO's throwing a few curves. In the past, we followed these swimsuit models, well, anywhere they wanted to go. But it's high time we deal with domestic issues. Watch as the world's top models shed their grace on thee. Sports Illustrated, Swimsuit USA, America the Beautiful. And coming soon.
1992 was an exciting year in boxing. And you can be certain you haven't seen the last of George Foreman yet.
Don't miss Foreman's next fight live. And where's the only place to see it? 3 hints. HBO.
We bring you back live to Atlantic City in anticipation of our HBO World Championship Boxing triple header tonight with 3 middleweight and super middleweight superstars. Middleweight champ James Toney, 168-pound champ Iran Barkley, hot young contender Roy Jones. And you have already heard the beginning of competing offers from George Foreman and Gary Shandling. Gary, George is going to fly 2 of his fans out to Reno, Nevada to watch him fight January 16th.
And you didn't give me a chance to say I will top that by giving the people 2 tickets to a taping of my show in Los Angeles as opposed to Reno. I will remain clothed as opposed to George, who is going to be wearing shorts, and not a guy you want to see in shorts. George, I think, frankly, is you're away from needing a weigh-in between every round. And I also think I'll throw in airfare for two for the winner and a friend.
Is a special presentation of HBO Sports.
Tonight, from the Taj Mahal on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, HBO Sports presents a boxing triple header. First, many in the boxing circle believe middleweight Roy Jones has the necessary skills to become one of the best fighters in the world. But for Jones, nothing comes easily. At the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, Korea, Jones was the unfortunate victim of corrupt and dishonest scoring, which robbed this United States Olympian of a gold medal.
The silver medalist, Roy Jones, USA.
4 years have passed since that Olympic debacle, and despite a 19-0 record, Jones's career has not exactly skyrocketed the way you might have thought. For the most part, this career has taken place in obscurity, unmemorable fights against utterly forgettable or already forgotten opponents. Tonight, Roy Jones comes out of hiding and plans to show the boxing world what he does best.
Tonight is my first step towards the middleweight championship. I want it so bad, I can taste it.
Our second fight features the Bronx-based Blade, Iran Barkley, a three-time world champion, currently the IBF super middleweight champ. And without any doubt, Iran Barkley is one of boxing's most unpredictable starters and one of its very best finishers.
There's only one superstar in this card tonight, and that's me. Jones and Tony take a back seat.
And then in our last fight, champion James Toney. He's the IBF middleweight champion who tonight moves up to the 168-pound limit to try to remind veteran Doug DeWitt why he is nicknamed Lights Out. At super middleweight, Toney feels more powerful and quicker and hopes to electrify the audience.
Tonight, Doug DeWitt's gonna find out why they call me James Lights Out Tony. Say goodnight, Doug.
Roy Jones, Iran Barkley, and James Toney all ready to rumble on the boardwalk. We are live from the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City as HBO Sports presents a boxing triple header. First, you'll see up-and-coming middleweight contender Roy Jones as he continues his quest toward a shot at the middleweight championship, taking on Percy Harris in a super middleweight bout scheduled for 12 rounds. And then IBF super middleweight champion Iran the Blade Barkley takes on Robert Foley in a light heavyweight non-title fight scheduled for 10 rounds. And then in our final bout, IBF middleweight champion James Toney moves up to the 168-pound limit to take on the always tough Doug DeWitt in a 10-round contest. Tonight, the Mark G. Edis Arena in the Taj Mahal Hotel and Resort Casino sold out in anticipation of seeing three of boxing's best tuning up for what they hope will be preludes to title shots early in 1993. All three fighters with speed, power, and quickness. This an evening you're about to see a little of everything to satisfy your pugilistic talent. And hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. And with all of the boxing world still sharing the treasured memories of that great battle 3 weeks ago in Las Vegas between Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe, we now move south a little bit to the middleweight and super middleweight divisions to see three of the best fighters in the sport as they look ahead to potential big activity in 1993. Working here with me, as always, is HBO's boxing analyst, Larry Merchant. Larry, we know what we saw in the heavyweight division with Lewis Ruddock and Holyfield Bowe. What is this evening all about?
Well, first, Jim, I know that the Larry Sanders Show is a show about a nighttime show. Is this a show about a fight, or is this a real fight?
Let's play along and find out.
Well, I think what this show is about is a transition from a new administration in the heavyweight division that was crowned 3 weeks ago in that memorable fight to 1993. And the plan is this. If Iran Barkley continues to win, If James Toney continues to win, they will meet in February for the 168-pound championship that Barkley owns. If Jones continues to win, he will eventually fight for the middleweight title, presumably against Toney. So what we have here in Norman Mailer's memorable words is a chance to look around the room, see the talent in the middleweight division. I'm guessing, and maybe just hoping, that somewhere along the way tonight, one of these opponents will pull together his potential to give us a real fight in something that is unexpected.
Indeed, we don't think they're stiff. They're representative opponents, and we could indeed come up with something unexpected. And as you already know, our normal colleague George Foreman is looking ahead to his January 16 bout. We'll talk to him later on this evening again, live via satellite from Los Angeles. But whenever George isn't with us, we have the great privilege of working with one of the better-known faces and voices in the sport, longtime trainer and manager and analyst Gil Clancy. Gil, we get ready for our first HBO look at Roy Jones, the outstanding boxer of the 1988 Seoul Olympics when he was jobbed by bad scoring out of a gold medal. He has fought in obscurity in his professional career. How good is he? What's at stake for him tonight?
He seems to have it all, Jim. He has great hand speed, solid punching power, puts his punches together well, and has great confidence. But he's fighting a tall, experienced fighter, a good boxer, great lateral movement. It could be a problem. Let's see if he can solve it.
Indeed, Gil, there is something to be said for Percy Harris, the man who'll be fighting against Roy Jones. And here is a look now at Harris already in the ring. He is 6 feet 3 inches tall, and there is his record so far in his career: 15 wins, 3 losses, 9 KOs. One of those losses was a pitched battle with Lamar Parks, a hard puncher from South Carolina, who's regarded as one of the other middleweight contenders, along with the man you're going to see against Harris in this fight, Roy Jones. And there is Jones. So many of you remember his disappointment after that Olympic final against the Korean fighter. As an amateur, he was slow to get started, under the tutelage of his father for a long time, regarded by many in the sport as having been overprotected, so he hasn't had a chance to prove much in winning 19 bouts, 18 by KO. Quickly a look at the tail of the tape, and the height disparity will be obvious here, as you will see that Jones is a man of normal height for this division, 5 feet 11 inches tall, and Harris 6 feet 3 inches tall. Both fighters above their normal weight. 163 for Harris, 164 for Jones. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
Well, let's take a look at these numbers, but I'm not sure exactly what they mean. Jones in particular, most of his opponents haven't been much better than the amateurs he fought when he was one of the world's best amateurs. Harris is one of those fighters with a lot of potential. He has fought actually a better class of fighter than Jones.
Rules of the bout by our unofficial ringside score. Oh, jabs first. Excuse me, Larry.
All right, Harris, as you can see, being tall as he is, depends on the jab. If he can make that weapon work, he can give Jones a good contest.
All right, let's get to the rules of the bout. I was rushing us along here. Harold?
Roy Jones and Percy Harris will fight tonight using the rules of the New Jersey State Athletic Commission. 3 judges will score the fight on a 10-point mud system. The standing 8 count is in effect. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. You cannot be saved by the bell in any round. And, Jim, very important, we go to the scorecards after half the number of rounds have been completed. So we go to the scorecards after 6 rounds on an accidental butt. Before that, it's a technical draw.
Right now, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the pre-fight introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and welcome to the Trump Taj Mahal Casino Resort here on the famous Boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey, where tonight, Top Rank Incorporated, in association with the undisputed, undefeated King of Beer, Budweiser, presents a boxing triple header for your entertainment. Let's get things started with the first bout, ladies and gentlemen, sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board and the World Boxing Council. The scoring will be done by 3 judges on a 10-point must system. The judges are John Potteray, John Riley, and Al DeVito. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of all the action is referee Tony Orlando. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant WBC Continental America's title in the super middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the blue trunks with white trim, weighing in at 163 pounds. He's from Pikeville, Maryland, ranked number 7 in the world by the International Boxing Federation with a professional record of 15-3, 9 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, Percy No Mercy Harris. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the blue trunks with black trim and weighing in at an even 164 pounds. This 1988 Olympic silver medalist is undefeated as a professional with a record of 19-0, 18 KOs, ranked number 2 in the world, introducing Roy Jones Jr.
Gentlemen, you received your instructions prior to coming to the ring. Therefore, I expect a clean, professional fight. Is that clearly understood? Okay, touch scores, go back to your phone. Question here, Jim, is whether Jones is going to try to outbox this much taller opponent, or is he going to try to put some hurt on him quick and discombobulate him?
No. Take the towel down. Roy Jones indicated yesterday in speaking to us that he would like to box. He has gotten impatient in some of his earlier bouts when trying to get people out of there with punching power. Round 1 begins, and the excitement at ringside is about Roy Jones stepping into a bigger arena of exposure than has been the case before. He opens with a left hook.
And Jim, the one thing I don't like about Percy Harris, and there he's down already. You have to remember that he's only had one fight this year. The first looping right hand caught him right on the temple, and down he went.
An almost casually thrown right hand lead by Jones, and Harris appeared never to see it coming. Percy Harris now tries to punch a little bit, starting with the jab. He's been on the floor already as a result of an easy right hand lead. I think Jones might have wobbled him a little bit earlier with the left hook to set up that right hand lead, Gil.
No, I thought he blocked that punch, Jim.
So it's a one-punch knockdown in effect.
Well, now, let's see if Jones goes right-hand crazy. A lot of young kids with his experience would start really winging that right hand, which is the wrong thing to do.
Well, he drops the left hand early, that's for sure. Both hands down around the waist now as Jones appears to fear nothing from Harris. But he's still moving in boxing rather than storming in and trying to finish the thing right away.
You can see the quick hand speed of Roy Jones. I mean, he is dangerous.
He has been compared to Ray Leonard for the speed of his combinations and his ability to throw punches in bunches. Jones going to the body. Percy Harris motioning Jones to come on in, saying, "Bring it to me. I don't fear what you've got," but Harris is in serious trouble again. And Jones, aping Ray Leonard, throws his gloves in the air before trying to pound Harris back to the canvas. Still a minute and 10 to go in the round. Plenty of time if Roy can set up the finish.
Jim, I saw Percy Harris give Lamar Parks all kinds of trouble. And he is a solid puncher. We're really seeing something tonight in Roy Jones.
6, 7, and we ought to remind everyone that this is the best fighter, really, that Jones has ever fought. It's a step up in class, and he's really proving a point here.
Well, Harris is totally on Queer Street. Now tries to punch his way out of trouble. He hasn't yet tried to grab Jones and wrap him up. And Roy, winging punches now a little bit. Obviously, he's in no danger as Harris can't throw a competent punch.
Harris is lucky he's standing right now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Is he on wobbly legs? You think with his experience, he'd grab Jones and walk him around the ring to kill the clock. And Jones is looking to land out one big bomb right now.
Harris's corner screaming at him to grab Jones and wrap him up. Harris either doesn't hear them or doesn't understand them. He's going to make it out of round 1, however.
Don't be so sure.
Keep in mind that nobody has ever treated Percy Harris quite like this, even if you never heard of Percy Harris. He is a ranked middleweight, the first ranked middleweight that Roy Jones has fought. Gil talked about his hand speed. Just watch this. Against an experienced, tall fighter. Before Harris could even react with anything, the punch was there. This is the second knockdown, and against a very wobbly Harris. Looks like one of those sailboats without a rudder, but he did survive.
Jones threw 70 punches in round 1 and landed 31 of them. Harris landed 2 of 25 attempted blows, and he didn't even try to throw a punch prior to having already been put on the canvas once by Roy Jones.
I don't think Harris threw a punch with bad intentions in the entire round.
Oh, no. Well, he didn't begin to throw him until he was already loopy, Gil.
And, you know, speaking of loopy, we mentioned that Roy Jones thought that he might have trouble with a taller opponent. So way to fight a taller guy is to loop your punches a little bit, which is exactly what he did through that looping right hand.
So it isn't necessarily bad for Roy to be winging his shots and looping them a little bit tonight.
It's a little dangerous, Jim. If you get caught in the middle of leading with one of those right hands, then you can go yourself. But right now, Harris is not really fighting offensively at all.
Another solid left hook, and again, Harris is lucky to be standing up on stiff legs. Jones is showing some patience here, Gil.
Well, we may be seeing the star of the future.
A right to the body and a left hook. Percy Harris taking a lot of punishment early in the fight. He made it into the 10th round with the very hard punching Lamar Park.
And he has a win over Thomas Tate, who gave Julian Jackson all he could handle.
Jones slowing down a little bit now, looking to go to the body.
Give Harris credit. Here he is. He's still coming at Jones, Gil.
But it is, but he should be coming behind the jab and throwing something, Larry. He has to make Jones respect him. Jones is winging those punches because he can do just about anything he wants in there.
Jones missing with right hands as he tries to set up a finishing blow. Harris pawing with the jab, and Jones just runs to the side to get away from it. Another left hook, that one landed up under the neck.
Again, we mentioned that Harris hasn't had a fight at one fight in a year. He really got what we call, got caught cold, no question about that. It's like a sprinter that starts 100-yard dash and falls down in the starting blocks.
I think Roy's resting a little bit here, Gil. His punches have lost their sting for the moment.
Well, he's a young guy. He should be in shape to throw those kind of punches as long as it takes.
He's fighting at a weight well above where he's been before. Most of his professional career has been spent at 154 pounds. He only recently moved up to 160, and tonight he's in there at 164. Oh, the left hook landed solidly, and now there's blood coming out of Harris's mouth, and down he goes again. It's the third knockdown of the bout as round 2 comes toward a close.
6, 7, 8. Walk towards me. You okay?
This is true grit against true class.
And Harris began to go to Jones's corner before referee Tony Orlando straightened him out and brought him back to his own people.
And I think they'll take a good look at him between rounds.
Yeah, there's a doctor coming in to take a look at it.
You all right?
You got to keep your hands up, son.
Well, I didn't know what cardio was going to.
now.
Let's take your tongue out, okay? All right.
Try, mister.
Third knockdown of the fight. That quick left hand. From a right-handed stance, he threw what looked like a right-handed jab and followed it with a left hook.
Set up the left hook with a straight right hand.
When you have hands that fast, you can break all the rules, Gil.
Larry, we mentioned how much talent this kid has, and he's certainly showing it tonight.
Very heavily muscled for a middleweight. He has brought the crowd to its feet. Virtually everybody around the ring is standing up. Now they begin to sit down as the third round begins.
I think one more knockdown, and they're going to have to really take a good, solid look at Percy Harris. You can see Harris's legs are still rubbery. On rubbery legs.
Jones missing a series of jabs, not really committing to the punch. Looks like he's looking to land something else. Probably wants to bring the right hand over the top. His eyes are fixed at the middle of Harris's body.
And Harris is really not offering any offensive opposition at all. He's not giving Jones anything to worry about.
So Straight right hand landed for Jones, but it was not the kind of crushing power blow that has produced the earlier knockouts, or knockdowns, I should say.
See how quick he is, Larry. Threw a right-hand lead, got away with the punch, no counter from Percy Harris. He's just so quick. Not only fast hand speed, fast feet, fast everything.
Well, until Harris gets his bearings, it appears that Jones can get away with just about anything in there. So the third round has brought the activity level way down. Missing the right hand. That one would have finished matters if he landed it flush.
Jim, when a guy like Roy Jones fights, don't blink. Just like the saying, blink. He nailed Harris with that left hook.
And another left hook. And Harris is wobbly on his feet again. Combinations will be the key for Jones. There's the jab and the right cross. There's another left hook. Now he's back to landing every blow.
Threw that left hook to the head, right hand back to the body. Changing up beautifully, doing everything in there. The only thing he really hasn't used too much is a good stiff jab. That has not been necessary ever since that first bomb landed.
Well, when you're landing most of your power shots, you tend to turn a deaf ear to the trainer who says jab. Fast hand. Percy Harris simply not able to get out of the way, even a straight right hand lead.
Jones is swinging his punches from down around his waist.
The long left hook was partially blocked. The shoulder landed. There's another left hook to the neck of Percy Harris.
Low blow by Harris. Tony Orlando was behind Jones, didn't see the punch.
Harris is going to make it out of round 3 without a knockdown, it appears. So for the first time in the bout, Percy Harris stays upright for 3 full minutes against the brilliant young phenom, Roy Jones.
Jones appears to be having more trouble with his trunks than with his opponent so far.
He ain't gonna go from head to the back to the head. See how much punishment it takes? Where we gotta go? Okay. I want it to the ground. I want you to soften that body up. You can take a shot to the head, baby, okay? Okay? Stretch this out, though. Don't swallow it.
Come back up. I'll get that face. All right. You got to keep your hands up, baby. You want to keep your hands up.
It was up that round.
Yeah, that's better that time.
Here is Roy Jones in action, and we may be watching a star who is about to burst upon us all. I don't think I've seen anyone with this kind of potential since the young Ray Leonard.
Well, even the young Ray Leonard did not have the punching power that this kid has. Put his punches together, beautiful boxer, but this kid just seems to exude power with either hand.
Well, if he can take a punch like Ray Leonard and keep coming back at you, then we'll know we'll have something.
That remains to be seen.
Well, he just took a right hand from Percy Harris, which is by about an 80-mile margin the best punch in the bout for Harris. And Jones shook his head as if to say, no, you didn't hurt me. There's tenderness and swelling around Harris's right eye. Blood coming out of his mouth, although that appears for the moment to have been stopped.
Look how quick this kid is. Dangerous from any angle. Skips right in there.
And he's following his corner's instructions to go to the body as well.
Harris misses over the top with a left hook. And then follows Jones into the corner and gives him a 1-2 to the body. So it's becoming a little bit more of a boxing match for Roy Jones. If you look over his list of opponents, looking for a recognizable name, true boxing fans, super aficionados, will probably have heard of people like Jorge Castro, who went 10 rounds with Terry Norris, and also 10 rounds with Roy Jones. Or Jorge Vaca, a one-time opponent of Lloyd Honeyghan, for instance. But beyond that, there is not a recognizable name on the dossier.
As we said, Roy Jones has been the best kept secret in boxing. Remember, in 1988, he was in the Olympics.
Only recently has he broken away from the guidance of his father. Big time for promoters and managers in the sport complained that his father was overprotecting him. And Roy Jones Sr. simply said, my goal is for the kid to win a championship, not for him to make all his money in the first 3 years in the ring.
Well, Harris has lived to fight another round, and he's doing all right here.
Left hook landed on Harris's chin, but it's not as powerful as the earlier left hook and right cross bombs that Jones has been throwing. That one wobbled Harris just a little bit. If there's any weakness at all, Gil, he doesn't look to me as though he commits to the jab very often. He can make it more effective.
Right, he just doesn't set guys up with that left hand, but with the power and the speed. And he's been so effective, I guess he feels he doesn't have to throw a snappy left jab.
Wobbled Harris again with a left hook there. Left and a right as he backs up and moves away from Harris. Another right cross. Harris in trouble again. Can Harris make it out of round 4? Not without going down.
That's it.
And Tony Orlando has seen enough. So referee Tony Orlando calls a halt to what was 4 full rounds of sustained punishment meted out to Percy Harris by Roy Jones.
Sustained brilliance as well.
It was absolutely sustained brilliance. You have to remember that I saw Percy Harris's fight with Lamar Park, who just recently fought for the middleweight championship, and it was a dead-even fight after 8 rounds. This kid is just so far superior skill-wise to anything I've seen in quite some time.
You didn't expect this to be a wipeout, Gil.
Absolutely not. Harris has been in again. He beat Thomas Tate, who just fought Julian Jackson for the championship in a very close fight, but he just seems to be head and shoulders above all the rest of these guys.
And he may have the kind of quickness that we may not find out whether he can take a punch for a few years.
Well, we'll be able to compare Jones's performance with later appearances this evening by Iran Barkley and James Toney. Here now, another look at Jones putting Percy Harris away.
Did you see those 3 left hooks after he landed that right hand? It's unbelievable.
That indeed was the clincher. Tripling up on the left hook at short range. Here you go.
There's that right hand. 1, 2, 3 left hooks, 4 left hooks. I counted wrong the first time.
It's a lot of punches to throw in a short period of time for a guy weighing 164 pounds.
The word is brilliant, Jim. Brilliant.
So we're looking at a potential all-time great, right?
Well, all-time great is a little bit in the distance. I mean, but right now he looks that way.
Let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time comes at the end of the 4th round. The winner by knockout victory. And now his record, 20-0, 19 KOs, and he owns the WBC Continental America Super Middleweight Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, Roy Jones Jr.
Let's take a look at final punch stat numbers for the 4-round affair. And you'll see the lopsided disparity in punch output. Harris landing a total of 19 blows in the bout. Jones, 106 of 249. Very impressive, and the result speaks for itself. And now to speak for himself, Roy Jones with our Larry Merchant. Larry?
All right, Roy, does this fight move you up to another level, do you feel?
I'm not sure if it'll move me up to another level or not, but that fight was one that I needed. I needed badly.
Why?
Because with all the turmoil going on in my career, you know, it's time for me to try to make a move. My first step was going to be my most important step.
Against a ranked, respected middleweight.
Yeah, definitely. And now people can say, well, you fought somebody.
You came out very quick, and you were winging hard punches rather than jabbing, as many people might expect. Did you want to just send him a message, or is that going to be your style from now on?
Well, basically, I was sending Percy a message, you know, because some of the things that were said among me and him, I needed to let him know exactly where I was coming from. And, you know, the longer the fight would have went, the more punches I would have started to throw.
Were you surprised he was able to survive you in those first 2 rounds?
No, I wasn't surprised. Why I went out there to prove to him and me that I was different from
the other people that he had fought, he figured since he went a long distance with a couple of other ranked fighters in the middleweight division that he would go a long distance with me. But I went in there to prove him wrong and me right.
How close do you feel you are to fighting for the middleweight championship? What are your plans?
I'm not sure, right now. There's a couple of things, hopefully within the next 6 months. And before I go, I'd like to thank God for giving me the opportunity to be here and do the things I do. And I'd like to say congratulations to Steve Grant on your new marriage. I'd like to say hi to Willie Perry out in Detroit and all my family, my mom and my dad and everybody back at home. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
All right, we just want to take a look at the end of the fight, Roy. You describe it.
Overhand right, which he's been open for all night, but my hand was numb. There's four hooks. I knew he was in trouble, and basically it was a matter of time before I caught him.
You say your hand was numb?
Yeah, my right hand was numb because I think I had an injury on my wrist while I was training, and I wrapped it a little tighter, and it has got numb. So I was having a problem with it, and that's why I was at him so hard, too.
Thank you again, Roy. We'll be seeing you soon, I'm sure. Thank you. Back to you, Jim.
All right. Very self-possessed and composed in the post-fight interview as well. No weaknesses so far, huh?
Well, the weakness was in his right hand. Too bad he had a sore right hand.
And bad hands have brought down many a great fighter. Do you see any potential trouble signs in the fact that the hand was numb during the fight?
Well, Jim, he was winging his punches. He wasn't throwing real straight punches. But again, he was fighting a tall guy, and it was very effective. But unless you punch properly, you can really hurt your hand.
All right, let's talk to another expert right now. George Foreman, still standing by live in Los Angeles. George, what about Roy Jones?
Boy, I think he's a newcomer. He's going to be one of the great middleweights of all time. The guy fought a guy who was 6'3", which is an awkward position to be in as a heavyweight. So when you get to be taller than 6'2" and 6'3", you're not really at home in the gym. He was wise not to try and jab with this young guy because he would be 3 feet away from his body every time he ends up his jab. So, as you know, Ray Leonard fought Tommy Hearns. He tried to jab with him. His face get really messed up. You don't want to jab with jabbers. You want to get in there and get a knockout punch if you can. Roy Jones, wise fighter.
All right, you and I will be seeing a lot of him in the future here on HBO, we hope. George, tell us about your ambitions for the upcoming Pierre Kutzer fight on January 16th.
Well, I'm going to be in probably the best shape of my life. I'm down here working out every day. I'm in California, so I'm eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, and things like that. That's a lie. I've not been to Fat Burger. He's lying. But anyway, I'm in good training. I'm in good shape, and I'm doing a television show, so I'm laughing, and you're going to see the best fight of my career. I'm going to be down to 200 and...
Whatever it is. Yeah, I understand. 200 and something. George, let's talk about Riddick Bowe for a moment. It now appears that his plan is to have a fight early in the year against a relatively lower-ranked opponent, not somebody from the top 5, but rather from the 5 through 10 heavyweight rankings. Then they're talking about a potential Mercer fight. After it appeared for a while as though you might get the first crack at Bowe, it now appears as though you might have to win 2 fights to get at him. Does your hunger still exist for another title shot against Riddick Bowe down the line?
Well, I'm going to be active, I guess, for the whole 93, and if I can get a title shot, good. If not, look, I'll try him again once I retire and come back at about 56.
So you don't mind having 2 more fights before you get at him?
No, I'm going to stay as active as I can. Riddick Bowe and his manager, they were talking pretty good, and we almost had a deal, but I don't know what happened. Riddick Bowe is a great champion. He's got a lot of potential. He's working with Dick Gregory and a lot of people who are going to make him probably one of the most best-known champions of all time.
All right. And that was well said.
But I'm going to be in there punching and trying to win some fights myself. I got all those cuts there.
With all those fruits and nuts and vegetables in your belly, right? With you and Bowe having the same diet, it should be a tremendous matchup.
That's going to really be good. That's a lie. I'm not eating Fat Burgers, I told you.
All right. Stay away from Fat Burger, George. We won't keep you up too late tonight. Thanks very much for being with us. All right. So Roy Jones takes care of his piece of tonight's business. And now we get ready to look at 2 more outstanding fighters, either of whom, or perhaps both, could be